Gideon, the Lord's mighty warrior. It was a turbulent time for the Israelites. The Midianites, desert bandits and other hostile tribes freely raided their farms every harvest, forcing them to abandon their fields for the hills. A farmer called Gideon is among those who flee for their lives. This misery is brought on the people because they worshipped false gods and were denied the Lord's protection. But the Lord would not abandon his people. An angel is sent to Gideon and given the Lord's assurance of support. Gideon is called Mighty Warrior. It is a prophetic compliment that is to define his role and destiny. The Lord needs just a few good men. Before going into battle, Gideon seeks further assurances from the Lord, who grants both his requests in the miracles of the dew and the fleece. Gideon then begins recruiting men for his army. There is overwhelming response, but the Lord does not need that many men. So Gideon, following the instructions of the Lord, tells the men that all who are afraid can leave. 22,000 men do just that. As there are still too many, the Lord asks Gideon to take the men to a pool. Here, only those who drink water from cupped hands brought to their mouths are allowed to join Gideon's army, but that leaves him with a mere 300 men. But this army will prove to be more than a match for their enemies, who number in their thousands. Gideon strikes back. When Gideon overhears enemy soldiers interpret a dream that confirms that the Lord has given him victory over the Midianites, he is overjoyed. He shares the good news with his men and immediately prepares his men for battle. Dividing his 300 men into 3 companies, he hands them trumpets and empty jars with lighted torches in them. In the planned night attack, just after the enemy's changing of the guard, Gideon and his men encircle the camp. Following Gideon's lead, the men blow their trumpets and break their jars. With the torches held high in their left hands and the trumpets in their right, all the men shout, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." The sound of the trumpets, jars breaking, and the sudden bright lights causes instant panic and terror amongst the Midianites. In this confusion, the Lord causes the enemy to turn on each other and kill themselves. As the enemy run for their lives, Gideon plans an ambush for them. He sends messengers throughout the hill country of Ephraim to cut off their retreat at the river Jordan. It works, as the men of Ephraim also capture and kill 2 Midianite leaders. Though exhausted, Gideon and his small army continue to pursue the enemy. And when he is denied bread for his men at 2 towns, he vows revenge. Taking an unexpected route, Gideon catches the armies of the 2 Midianite kings totally by surprise. The 2 kings flee, but Gideon, ever relentless, captures them and destroys their armies. True to his vow, Gideon stops to teach the towns who had denied bread for his men a lesson. It proves to be deadly a vengeance. The 2 Midianite kings, Zebah and Zalmunna, are executed after admitting to killing Gideon's brothers. Gideon declines kingship. With these victories, Gideon puts an end to the raids by these tribes on Israelite farms and brings 40 years of peace. He declines the people's offer of kingship and tells them that only the Lord will rule over them. Gideon was called Mighty Warrior by the Lord, and he indeed lived up to that compliment. He rose from being an ordinary farmer to become an extraordinary military leader who triumphed because of his great faith in the Lord. This and other stories of the Bible come vividly alive at chaliceWay.com. Read about the apostles, trailblazers of the Christian faith, Samson and Delilah, John the Baptist and Herod, David and Goliath, Joshua, warrior for the Lord, and more.